So I just want to share a few things. I hate that we couldn't do like a real new coach call last week because I just love to jump on here and share things like live instead of sending you guys a recording, which it's all the same and it works just fine. But I think it's fun when we can see it live. So, okay, so now that we're all like kind of like sort of equipped, even though you might not feel like you're equipped, you're equipped to start helping people and sharing and just kind of like showing up for people. So I was listening to a call today and the girl was saying, commit to whatever, like there's one thing to be comfortable and not be doing anything. Like if you're in your comfort zone, like you need to find a way out of that. But it's okay to work through that because you're learning, like you're just growing and you're learning. And as you go, but right now I want you guys to think about what would be doable for like invites, because like one of my new coaches was asking me the other day, I had a hectic week, I work full time, like how did you fit this in? And I totally get it, because there's some days you're just like, I don't feel like I can fit another thing on my plate. But I promise that you can incorporate this with your busy schedule. It's just all in setting it up around, like if you have a couple days where you know that you are going to have more time, a little extra time here and there, or they're your slower days, like set stuff up to where you're succeeding on those days, to where you're showing up on social media on those days, to where you're sending invites on those days, so that when you have like power pockets of time, which are just pockets of time throughout the week that you might have 10 minutes here and there, you can respond to messages, you can follow up and ask someone if they, what they thought about the information that you sent, or if they're wanting to jump in this week. Or Sunday nights are a really great time to reach out and be like, okay, like I just wanted to reach back out to see if you'd like to join, because we're starting a brand new week. Like you could jump in tomorrow. I think it's that urgency sometimes with people, and they need that. They need that like boost or push saying, hey, like knock, knock, remember we chatted and like you wanted to do this or whatever. Some people just need that boost, to get them to say yes. So I want you guys to think about what you can commit to and what's doable, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself and be like, I can remember when I started as a coach and it was like, this is what they told us as a new coach. You need to post 3 to 5 times on social media every single day. You need to be, just doing all these things. And sometimes it's hard when we're just trying to figure out like our own fitness and our own routine, to add a ton of stuff, because it is a choice to feel overwhelmed, even though like we all feel it and it's natural. I still feel that way, but we can choose to not feel that way by committing to doing things that are doable, right? Because if we're going to commit to 2 or 3 invites every single day, which I think that's a healthy goal. I think that's a healthy goal. I guess depending on what your goals are. Like if your goals are like, I want to, earn $500 a month and I want to blah, 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 then okay, you might need to send more than 2 or 3 invites a day, but do what's doable for you and then build on that. Right. So because you can't like really assume, this is the thing that people like that I'm still shocked by. You can't assume that people know what you're doing, because I've done this for a long time. And like, I feel like I'm kind of like in your face, not in your face in like a bad way or a salesy way, but I feel like I'm pretty passionate and excited about what I'm doing. Right. And it's obvious that like I make an income and I do this from home and like, right. I would think so. But then there's people that are like thinking they don't have a clue what I do. And then they'll just go to beachbody.com and sign up. And I'm like, hey, like, remember we had this conversation? So don't just assume that people know what you're doing. And that's where you've got, and we're going to talk about this on the other call, but that's where you've got to get good. And it's not really good, but it's more like comfortable and out of your own zone about posting on social media. Because if you're just posting once a week, like, and if you're not wanting to grow a business, then okay, once a week's fine. But if you're wanting to show up consistently, once a week is not enough. And I would encourage you to really dive in to doing it, like, setting a more consistent goal, like maybe 4 times a week or 5, or every day is great if you can. So you've got to keep the invites going every single day, even if it's only 2 to 3, because you're building consistency. And that's key. We know that that's key. Just like our workouts. If we step away from our workouts for a few days, what? We feel like we have not been working out, and it's harder to jump back in. And it's the same thing with our invites. If we step away from our business, and it happens, and it's okay. It's not something to beat yourself up about. Some days you're going to get more done than other days. But if you can carve out a chunk of time every single day to work a little bit, it's going to make a huge difference in your consistency. Because honestly, you're in the midst of a lot of growth right now, and like you're growing and learning, and that's the important thing. And I mean, don't you feel like I honestly passionately feel like everybody would benefit from this. Everybody would benefit from something with this, whether it's nutrition, fitness, the business, encouragement, community, whatever, right? And so that's where we have to show up every day to show them, because they're not ready. And when they're going to be ready, we still want to be there for them. We still want to be doing the stuff so that they know that we're still here. So when I remember when I was a new coach, and I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing, and I didn't know if I was doing it right. And then you question it, right? But what I did know was I knew that I wanted to help people, and I knew I wanted to make a difference. And I knew that I could show up for me. Like I knew that I wanted to show up for me. So, and then I knew once I got people involved, and it was maybe only 1 or 2 at the beginning, that I had people that were kind of counting on me, right? So then I would show up for them, and I would show up because now I had people who were kind of counting on me, and that's good for accountability. Obviously, that's why we encourage people to jump on as coaches versus just as a customer. So as far as conversations go, I feel like we just need to keep going with them. You got to keep swimming and having them. Like how to get better at any of this is just to keep doing it over and over and over again. And you start to find, like, I know some people feel like they're just not a natural at posting, and that's okay. Like if you haven't done a lot of posting, you're not a natural at it, because it's not always that we feel comfortable sharing stuff or we know what to share or whatever, right? So in order to break through that barrier, we have to do it over and over and over again. It's like a workout program. We weren't good at it the first time we did it, but when we kept doing it, we got better. And then we gained confidence because we kept going and kept having the conversations. Because I remember feeling intimidated, and I remember people coming back, and some of this is going to cross over into the next call, but I remember people coming back with objections, and it was like, shoot, I don't know how to respond to this, And now I don't even question it. I don't ever question a conversation that I'm having unless it's something off the wall, like they're asking me about macros, or they're asking me about like something that I have I don't count macros. I don't, that's out of my league. Or keto. I don't do keto. So I'm not super familiar with it. But as far as objections go, and as far as, I just simply share my heart and share what's worked for me. And I don't want to dive into that too much, since that's kind of what our other call's about. So basically, like, our goal as a coach is to just, like, we all want to earn money. And we know we want to grow. We know we want to change. We know we're always a work in progress. So we're going to earn while we learn, right? And we're going to keep doing that and get better at telling our story, which again, we're going to talk on the next call about. But I was listening to this call again today, and this girl, I thought this was like really good. This girl was talking about imposter syndrome. And this is kind of an objection sometimes, where you'll get people that are like, even discount coaches I have, they're like, well, I couldn't work the business because I'm not consistent enough. I couldn't do this because of X, Y, and Z, right? Because you feel like a fraud. A lot of people are like, well, I feel like a fraud because I'm not getting results. Well, guess what? Like, you're human. You don't have to have like mind-blowing results, or even you can be going through maybe the most difficult time of your life, but guess what? You could still help other people. So we kind of get in our own head about that, because we know that it takes very little to build this business. We know that all we need to do is literally just reach out our hands to help people. And that's like pretty much it. And just guide them and encourage them and show them what we know, because we don't have to know it all. We just need to know that we want to help them, and that we, can help them with the tools that we've been given with Beachbody. So you're not a fraud at all. Oh, there's Tamara. Laura must have had to jump off. And honestly, like, people are more excited when we share on Facebook or social media. Hi, Tamara. We share things, and it's like, we think that we have to have these results, or we have to be so on target or on track. And people would rather know where we're going than where we've been. Like, people just want to know that you're headed somewhere great, that you're not giving up on yourself, that you're excited, that what you're doing matters, and you're wanting to make a difference, and you're there for them whether or not they purchase from you or whatever. And I think that we get sometimes too caught up on like the selling. So if you have somebody who finances are an issue, which that's the number one objection, right? Get them started on a 2-week free trial. Don't underestimate what a 2-week free trial is going to help them with, because that could completely change the game for them. I mean, that could literally gets them involved in our community. It shows them the programs. You're going to guide them. You're going to share meal plans with them. You're going to share whatever you can share. I mean, think if you worked your butt off today and you wanted to find 5 people to do a 2-week free trial, and that's all. You just wanted them to try it. You're giving them 2 weeks for free. And if they like it, they can keep it. If they don't, they can cancel. Don't you think that out of those 5 people that you could find to say yes, that a couple of them would find a lot of value in this and a lot of support and community? So just sometimes we get so caught up on the selling, and don't overthink it. I mean, we honestly as a team should run another 2-week free trial group because it's so beneficial, and it takes the pressure off of coaches sometimes where they feel like they need to sell or they need to earn so much or whatever. And then you don't feel like, not that you should feel that way, because you really shouldn't feel like a certain way, whether they buy something or not, because you're just there to help them. There's no emotional attachment. We've got to figure out how to take that out of it, because it's like when we send invites and we have that emotional attachment to the outcome of whether or not they're going to say no. We need to like remove that, because we're going to do this right with or without them. And I remember as a new coach, my coach told me that I remember her saying, you don't need them. They need you. And I was like, yeah, like, you're right. Like, I could be successful with or without them. Of course, I want them to join, but they need us. They just need support. They just need our tools and the vehicle that we have that we use with Beachbody. So think about that when you're getting no's. It's like, it's almost sometimes sad when you get so many objections and people tell you no, and you're thinking, wow, if you could only just understand. Like, if you could only understand. And that's okay, because it's not our job all we can do is help them understand, but it's not our job to, like, we can't make them do it. We can't, that's not our job. And it's up to them. It's on them. It's on them eventually to just do it for them. And it's not our responsibility, but we're just always going to be there. Okay. So let me see what else I need to share here that I have on my notes. And I think the last thing I kind of want to say, and then we'll open it up and see if anyone has any questions. And I know people are going to be starting to jump on our other call, but, and I've shared this before with you guys, but it's like, you need to think about showing up in the way that you would want someone that you follow or someone that you're inspired by. You want to show up in the way that you would want, like, that you would want your coach to show up. So if you're showing up in the way that you want your coach to show up, what does that look like? And it should look like that you are consistent, and it should look like you're excited, and it should look like you are doing this again with or without anybody else. Because when you have that, that's an attractive attitude to have. Like, if you have that, and it took me a long time to get there. And again, that's with growth. That's going to come. That's going to come with you just continuing to show up, finding the people that want this. And that's attractive when you see people who are like, you know what, like I'm going to do this and I'm going to show up no matter what because I owe it to myself and I'm done canceling on myself. And that's the kind of thing that people will come to you for. So it's literally all a matter of consistency and showing up. So how would you want your coach to show up for you? That's what you need to think about. And it's always reflection. So as a new coach, it's like, okay, maybe you feel like you've not done enough, or maybe you feel like you don't know what to do quite yet, or maybe you're just sort of like, I don't know, whatever you're feeling, it's okay because you already know some, right? So you're going to build on what you know. You're going to continue to show up for yourself because you never want to let that go. And so you're going to continue to just build on what you already know and teach people what you know already about the programs. It's literally, that's what Lindsay Gray always says. A sale is a transfer of energy. So like, it's literally you just being transparent to them and almost like guaranteeing them that if they commit to this, they're going to have success. They're going to have results because we know that there's proof. Like we know that these programs and products are friggin' amazing and that if they will just commit to them, which we can't do for them, but if they'll commit to it, then they're going to have results. And sometimes people just need you to say that to them. Like, dude, like you are going to love this. You're going to freaking like be blown away by your results. And I know what you mean. I was like kind of resistant at first too, or whatever. And we're going to dive into that with objections in a little bit. So does everybody have a book that they're reading right now? Okay, cool. If you want to share in the chat what you're reading, I'm just curious. It's just so important. It's so awesome. I know some of you guys are reading this book. I highly recommend it. It's my absolute favorite book. It's The Bomb because it was written by a super successful male Beachbody coach. So it's specific to our organization, but any network marketer could read it and gain a lot from it. But I love it because it's just our jam. It's our business. Because he talks about how to level up, and that's all we're doing. We're leveling up in our fitness. We're leveling up in our business. We're leveling up our game with social media, which we're going to talk about on the next call. And a lot of times personal development just needs to be something that you're lacking. Like if you're lacking confidence, then maybe, and it's kind of like you're going to find aspects of that all over, right? You can listen to podcasts about that. There might be a book that's about business, but it's going to give you confidence. So, I mean, it's not like you have to go get a confidence book, but I'm just saying, if there's something you feel like there's a gap or you're lacking, sometimes coaches will go to that specific, target. Like if there's fear or you're whatever, holding your own self back. So does anyone have any questions? Oh yes. Yeah. Jessica showed me that one, Tamara. That looks so good. That looks so good. I kind of want that book, but I'm like so behind on books right now. The Gifts of Imperfection. I haven't seen that one. Do you have that one right there handy, Katie? I'm just curious what it looks like. Oh, I've seen that. Yes. Cool. Awesome. And I know Laura has Built to Last, and I don't know what Lori and Jenna are reading. Oh, Girl, Wash Your Face. Oh yeah, you are reading that. That's right. That's a good one. So does anyone have like a specific question that they feel like they want to ask or help getting like through a barrier or kind of getting out of your own way? And I know some of you guys weren't on here a while ago, but I shared something about, and I was going to kind of share this on the next call too, but we'll see. But I was listening to a call and they talked about imposter syndrome. And I never heard this before. So it's kind of cool because a lot of coaches will say, I feel like a fraud because I'm not having results or I don't have this or that. So I feel like I can't share because I'm like a fraud. And I was always thinking, well, like, I didn't really know how to get them out of that because it's kind of like, well, then you just need to focus on you. You just need to commit more to your own goals, I guess, like get results, like work on you, be excited. Like, I don't know, share what you're doing and just maybe level up with your stuff. But it's like, you don't have to feel that way because you don't have to feel like you have to earn success before you can get people to join you because literally people need support. That's all. You could be going through the most difficult time of your life, but if you're going to support somebody through their journey, that's all that matters, right? You don't have to be on track all the time because hello, that's not even a real thing. And that's okay to share that stuff because people need to see that. People need to see that this is a lifestyle. And that's why we don't like promote keto. And I'm not bashing keto, but we don't promote like all these lifestyles that are kind of like not sustainable. We promote this because it's sustainable, because they're getting nutrition. They're learning how to eat when they're on vacation. They're learning how to like, that they're not, yes, we're going to drink Shakeology, but we're not drinking it because we want to drink all of our meals so that we lose a bunch of weight. We're drinking Shakeology because it's like the best nutrition on the planet, and we can't get it from nutrition like if we just, the nutrition that we eat. So anyways, think about that too. Like, you're not a fraud, and you don't have to know all of the things in order to get people to join you, because that's kind of your ego like telling you that. And a lot of personal development books will talk about your ego, and I think it's interesting because they say you're supposed to put your ego last. Like, it's your ego telling you that you're not successful, that, you know, nobody's going to join you because you don't know enough people and blah, 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 and all these things. That's not true. Like, that's, you know, BS. So does anyone have anything? And if not, I'm going to stop this recording and then I'll re-record when we like get on this next call. I wondered if Tamara was unmuting herself.
I am. I'm trying to, but I'm also trying to get my son to turn down his video so I can
You're
actually.
fine. You're fine.
And my daughter, who's having a meltdown at the moment. No, I think my biggest, and I don't know if it's necessarily a fear, but I still have trouble with like doing videos. I don't know if anybody else does. And I know that I listen to, like, I go back and listen to what Haley said about, you know, just getting over yourself.
Yeah.
And just get out there and just do it. And then I find myself going, okay, all right, now what do I want to say? Or have I said too much? Or you know, even when I feel like I have like everything down that I want to say, and then I almost second guess myself, I think is what I do. I kind of second guess myself.
You don't mean workout videos, right? You just mean like talking on your stories about random stuff?
Just talking about, just talking on your on my stories, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. So
I think that's,
like, I think you just have to get, because you can't, like, I don't have it down. When I go to do a story, I'm just like going to ramble about something. And I think you'll get better at rambling, like, as you go, because you think of one thing. Like, I always go to my stories and I think of one thing that I want to share about my morning or about the night, like, because I like to talk on my stories in the morning, and then I kind of don't normally talk a ton on them after that, typically. So, you know, like, think of one thing, one piece of motivation, one piece of inspiration, something about mom life, something about obstacles. I mean, you know, you just have so much to share, and we make it a big deal. Like, we make it this thing. It has to be like this big elaborate thing, when people just want to know that you slept like crap, you hit your alarm 3 times, and you know what I mean? Like, they just want to know the stuff that's normal and common that they can relate with.
Okay. And that makes, maybe that's what I'm searching.
I think I used to do that too, Tamara. I think I used to feel like when I got on there, it needed to be something profound or something that was really just, you know, and it's not that. That's the stuff that I feel like people just want to see, that everyday stuff. Like, what are you cooking? What are you eating for breakfast? Like, what Energizer are you drinking? Is that a new flavor? Like, I talked about my berry today because I've been talking about it and I never freaking got it in the mail, and I finally did. So I shared about it. But I think it's just overthinking it. I really do. And I get it. But try to just like incorporate different things from your life that you're just going to share and chat about.
Okay. Thanks.
That's what I was just going to say. The first time you go to talk on Instagram, just talk about something that's not even coaching or Beachbody related, if that's what's going to break that barrier.
Yes.
Like, I think the first thing I talked about was when Sawyer was like not napping. I have a 10-month-old, and it was like, I will not nap unless you hold me. And we like regressed in her napping. And that's what I talked about. And then on my last like clip of my video, I put like, do any other moms go through this, where they could like give advice. That's how I broke my barrier.
Yeah. I like it. Jenna, I can't see your face. Am I supposed to? Because I want to.
No, because
Okay.
I'm like playing with makeup, so half my
You're
face
fine.
with makeup, half not.
I was just like, did you mean to not show your face? Because like I need to see your face, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's on purpose.
Okay. But no, I love that. I love what you said about that, because it's just, it's like we just make it a big deal, and it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be. And to end almost in, like you said, Jenna, asking for advice, like asking if like, yeah, does anybody else, or is it just me or whatever? So I love it. So try to just commit like tomorrow, just like random stuff. And I think you're going to find that even if it's just like 2 or 3 clips, it's not going to be a long, topic. It's just like you chatting a little bit, and try to commit to that every day. And I think that really helps people relate with you more than just workout stuff and Energize and Shakeology and Beachbody. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. If anyone has any questions, we can still